Now we're on to Michael Bleau, talking about events at EventHub. Welcome, Michael. So good to meet you. And tell us about your project.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me on your show. And I love it so far. I'm also a cat rescuer myself, so I love that story. And I know that, that's not going to happen in the next one. The next one's going to be an amazing cat. So EventHub is a sponsorship platform for events, meaning that we work with festivals, fairs, expos, sporting events, and we help, if you could think about essentially Airbnb for booth and sponsorship space at events and traditionally live events. That's essentially what EventHub is at its core. Now, during COVID, no live events. So what do you do? Right. And what we did was we talked to our customers, talked to the community, and realized that, there were a lot of these billion-dollar startups doing these video conferencing apps like your Hopins and such, but there was no one really attacking the need for consumer event engagement and really building a platform that allowed attendees to easily navigate, discover, and engage with entertainment-focused events, and then that had sponsorship deliverables for brands to be able to engage with those attendees through those virtual consumer events. So 2020 was a big year of adapting for us, and we were able to come up with a virtual expo that was specifically focused, specialized very well for consumer events and consumer event sponsorship online.
That's great. So give us some examples of some events that you've done.
Yeah, we ended up working with all three of the top largest US marathons last year, the New York Marathon, Chicago Event Management produced the Bank of America Chicago Marathon, and then this group, Kinventures, that produces the expo for the Boston Marathon. So we had a really great response from the community in terms of people that we never even, we hadn't been on the radar for before, but because we had this unique offering, they saw it as a value to be able to bring to their communities and their attendees. On the other side, we work with events because of this, like the American Cancer Society and the Assistance League East Side, and really great nonprofits that do good community work and do a lot of, good, especially in 2020 when there's been such a struggle across the board.
So how does a marathon look on video? Is it a lot of people on treadmills, or what is the format there?
Yeah, so there's been some really great runner apps that have spun up, and essentially it's like a Facebook on steroids for runners. Well, steroids is a bad word in the racing industry, so we won't say that. But it's essentially really a souped up community app that's very focused on peer motivation, and it's runners. They're running outside, but they're running in groups of 4 or less, or they're running individually on these courses. Some of the races have people run the circuit, and they just do it at their own pace, or some just run it wherever they're at, and then it clocks it, and it's more about engaging with the community, sharing what they love about the race in a live version year and things like that. Our specialization is actually focused around the expo. So when you think about a big race, a couple of days typically before the race, there's a massive expo. It's like a health and wellness type of event. You can go and find aspects of nutrition, training, products and services, all the things that would help you gear up and become a better runner. You can think about parallels with that across other types of events as well. If it's a fair, it's going to be maybe you need your windows, or maybe you need to get some fair food virtually delivered to you or something like that. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do to interact with the vendors and the sponsors at these events virtually. And that's the part that we come in and help bring to the table.
Yeah, so Kenya, you're really into the health and fitness stuff. Do you have a question for Michael?
Yeah, I was going to say, I ran the last New York City Marathon that was live before all of this happened. And thank you. I appreciate that. And I love going to the expo stuff before. So I'm like curious, like, what is that experience like? Because, you walk around, you see the booths, it's very interactive, like virtually, what does that look and feel like?
So you go into this main hall essentially, and then at the top, there's what we call a main stage. And you're able to produce as the event a live stream across the main stage. Now, what's really cool is that as you navigate the expo, you can just do a keyword search. If you're looking, hey, I need my shoes, boom, shoes, all the shoe exhibitors will come up. Or you can browse and just scroll down the page. Each booth gets a unique thumbnail. But when you actually click on that thumbnail, as opposed to just going to their website, it takes you into this full virtual booth where there's a live video chat with that exhibitor there that you can speak with and get the advice you need to help choose your shoes. And they're able to actually physically sell you the shoes with the booth. We have a Shopify API that allows exhibitors to literally have people buying things in real time while they're talking to the attendees. So that's what it's like. And at the same time, there's these cool ways to integrate with breakout sessions so you can do your nutrition clinics and your training and your morning runner yoga clinics and things like that. All the things that you would do at different size stages at one of these big expos.
I'm feeling like we're getting closer and closer to the Matrix, you know, where you don't actually have to touch or meet anybody,
Right.
right? But it sounds like a great idea. And
So Lisa might have a question.
yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah, I think this is spectacular. It's so hard to wrap my brain around this still. You know, we just had a conference. We had our annual conference online, which in every piece of it was, I was just astonished by how it was all put together. So for you, Michael, awesome business. How are you advertising?
2020 was a lot of word of mouth. You know, it was, hey, wait, New York's doing what? And every other marathon went, oh, what are they doing? So in that regard, there was some good amount of word of mouth. We do a lot of email marketing and we do a lot of Facebook campaigns, things like that. I see a lot of my own Facebook ads, so I know they're working. And you know, that's essentially been the main thing for us. What's funny is that in a normal year, we go to a ton of trade shows. So in our events industry, there are the International Festivals and Events Association. There's the International Association of Fairs and Expos. There's all of these different, there's Western Fairs Association, right? So all of these different types of event communities have associations. Some of them are state-based, some of them are national, some of them are international. And normally we are just on the road constantly meeting the organizers of these events. What was really interesting is that we added enough conferencing features that most of those associations ended up using our platform to put on their virtual conferences for 2020 and the first half of 2021. So for us, it was a really great opportunity to be able to pretty much at cost offer this platform and just help these associations to also have a successful show for during COVID, when normally they would just be, you know, SOL. And being able to also at the same time meet all those attendees was really great.
What is the difference in cost between doing this virtually versus the old way that because we did events and they're like a fortune?
Yeah, well, you definitely save money on a venue. You save a ton of money on the logistics and things that go into that. Where you end up spending some money is it depends on the quality of the live stream you want to produce. But it's cheaper to bring in a keynote speaker because you're not paying for hotel and flight. You're just having them come on to a Zoom or a live stream for an hour or two. So it's definitely less cost, but it takes careful thought and planning and production. It's definitely not something you want to just slap together in a couple seconds. One thing I wanted to mention, since your colleague mentioned it was hard to grasp the concept, is that we are going to be partnering with a charity org called Random Acts, and we're going to be producing a virtual pet expo. It's going to be in February. So stay tuned to eventhub.net. We'll be posting a lot of info about that. But we're really excited. We had a customer that was a virtual nonprofit pet adoption, and they had over 300 animals adopted. And we're going to be doing something like that focused on the Los Angeles area. So if you're a shelter or a rescue that happen to be listening to this, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on board. And it's totally 100% free for all the rescues and shelters. We're just donating our time as a staff to produce it as well. We look forward to bringing that to the community.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah,
and it sounds like your company is up and running. EventHub.net, and you'll be able to catch the latest events and maybe even schedule one of your own. So thank you so much for being on the program, Michael, and we'll be back with more Passage to Profit right after this.